Martin, what inspired you to create the compost worm farm?
At first, I wanted to make my soils better for wine growing or for generally the agriculture, and I searched for a way to make that with not so a high input of energy. Way to grow fungus and bacteria in some way. And an easy way to do that is with a compost farm or a earthworm farm. And so I took my research and found a way to do that.
Which product excretes the compost worm?
From the compost worms I get soil and also juice out of this soil, what is there is lots of bacteria, different bacteria and different fungus in it that I use later for creating my compost tea to increase life in the vineyards, in the fields.
How do you process the excreta of the compost worms?
There I created a big box where I put a high quality soil in it on the ground, and then on the top soil in this box I produce roots, leaves, decompost the earthworm, and when they eat it they create kind of bacteria, and with a symbiosis with the fungus they destroy everything and also create new things. And this life form later helps us to fasten root growing on our soil.
How do you create your compost tea?
So for the compost tea I take the liquid juice from my earthworm farm and also a little bit of the black super great smelling soil in this compost farm. This I'm putting into a bag, and that comes into a container with water and with air. There is lots of air bubbling into the water to bring oxygen in it, and there is also sugar melasse added to give food the bacteria to reproduce themselves, so that that they grow and duplicate itself. And also I make it a little bit cozy for them, so I heat it up to 25 degrees like a hot pot for bacteria. And after this process it takes about 36 hours, then it's finished.
How would you explain dynamize?
Dynamize I would explain also with the way of I do my earthworm farm. So there is a lot of death in it, so it symbolizes also the chaos when you dynamize. And when everything is decomposting, new life is on the other hand growing. So from dead things start new things, and also this is the biodynamic way itself. So there's always death and life nearby, and this is how I help to create something in a way, and this is my idea of dynamize.
Would you say it also influences the biodiversity in your vineyards?
Absolutely, because bacteria is the ground of everything, and everything is connected together like an forest. You know, all the roots of the different bushes, trees and everything is connected together, and with the bacteria the roots connect much better. So there is much more space and place for more different kind of plants. If you have the right bacteria or the right amount of a lot of bacteria, the roots help each other out. And so there is space for growing diversity. Otherwise, you don't have this high amount of bacteria. Still, only the primitive plants will be there, and more beautiful flowers will disappear, and only grass will stay in the vineyards. And if you have lots of connection, there is more space for beauty.
What influence does it have on your biodynamic farming on your vineyards?
First of all, I wanted to create a kind of cycle in my farming process. So I don't want to use that much material from more far away. So I like to create my little helpers on their own farm, activize or make the root growing or the fine root growing much better. You can really see that effect when you dig a little bit down to your roots and take parts of the roots out, and then you see how thin and fine the roots of the plants get, not also from the vine itself, also from all the other cover crops. And this make your soil, your topsoil, a kind of a living sponge that can capture dry seasons or wet seasons and make it more flexible to climate change or different kind of periods of weather.
To recognize the microbial influence on the soil.
You see it on the root growing and how the root is growing. It's not a little bit growing, the fine roots are kind of exploding in all directions.
How to recognize the microbial influence on the vines.
Also on root growing, so the fine roots are growing really in all directions and really dense, and this is the first look you get when you dig for the influence. And also the growing is not so hyper, so it's more calm.
How would you describe these influences in the taste of your wines?
I would say you feel the living soil outside in the fields when you go through my vineyards, and also this reflexes in the taste of my wines. So when you have living soils, you have living wine.